I'm Morrigan and my undergraduate dissertation at Kent Sociology made a difference.
Hi, I'm Ethan Cleverly, and my undergraduate dissertation at Kent Sociology made a difference.
Hi, I'm Georgia, and my undergrad dissertation at the University of Kent made a difference.
I'm Shania, and my dissertation at Kent Sociology made a difference.
I'm Maisie, my undergraduate dissertation at Kent Sociology made a difference.
The problem I wanted to address with my dissertation was that we were consuming too much fashion to work within environmental limits and supporting fast fashion that promotes systemic social exploitation on various levels. So I became increasingly interested in why my generation, the moral generation as it were, was still buying so much fast fashion. So it was kind of like, shouldn't we know better? And what was going on for young fashion consumers? So my project ended up being about the relationship between student values and their fashion consumption, testing specifically to look at this idea of the attitude behavior gap, which is this concept of us believing one thing but then behaving in a way that's different to what we believe. So I wanted to add to a branch of sociology I think is really important to understanding how we can improve fashion as a system. I did an online survey where I qualitatively measured students' social, moral, and environmental values, their political activeness, and how much they valued choice to see what impact these had on their fashion consumption frequency and the source where they bought most of their fashion from. And I analysed these in a mixture of frequency tables and means analysis tables. And I then also asked two qualitative questions at the end to get some sort of emotional complexity to understand it fully, which I then analysed via thematic analysis. Well, I mean, I can't take all the credit because I had a really good supervisor. And so when I said to her, oh, I want to do mixed methods, she was like, oh, okay, that's like two different types of analysis. You have to do qualitative and quantitative. But she taught me all the sources that I needed to look at and everything I needed to learn. So even though I was undergraduate, I had lots of support. So I was able to do my dissertation in the methods that I thought would be best.
My name is Corey Wren, and I am Morrigan's supervisor. And when I was first introduced to Morrigan's research idea, I thought it was super timely. We would have our monthly checkups to see how the research project was going and to brainstorm and kind of tinker with the methods and the theory and all that good stuff. It was always really, really exciting, and you really feed off of the students and how engaged that they get in these topics. And you really feel like you're collaborating. And absolutely, I would not say that this is just some undergraduate project that, you know, we're just ticking off the boxes. When you get to work with a professional academic, this is a really exciting time for the students. But for me, as that professional academic, because I'm working with students who are super passionate about these topics, they're really excited. This is in many cases, their first real project that they get to own. And I get to work with them all throughout that process. So I would definitely say at the end of our meetings, I always feel like, yes, I can't wait to see you next month to find out what you've come up with next and how this research is unfolding.
My main finding was that as participants' consciousness values increased, as in their environmental, moral, and social values, their frequency of consumption also increased, which was kind of the opposite of what you'd expect. Like you'd expect as people got more conscious and aware that their fashion consumption frequency would go down. So this was like really confusing for me when I first got the data. I was kind of looking at it, scratching my head. But then when I paired it with the next result, where people were buying most of their fashion from, it made more sense. So 39%, the majority, were shopping from secondhand shops. So I thought that there might be this kind of green lighting going on where if people thought where they were shopping from was a good place, then they could shop as frequently as they like. So this also made sense as to why political activeness also only had an effect on source of fashion, but not frequency. And it also made even more sense if you look at the focus of the political media attention that fashion has gained recently, which was focused more on source than frequency. So what I would say to activists and NGOs is to use my research to see specifically the barriers, particularly to frequency of consumption more than source, because as we've seen from our research, people are changing where they're buying from, just not how often.
I really encourage Morrigan to get her results out there. So Morrigan has submitted her research to a student journal. And Morgan has also submitted a summary of her work to the newsletter for the Center for the Study of Social and Political Movements here at the University of Kent, which I co-direct. So it's really, really cool that Morgan, as an undergraduate student, is able to be involved with, professional academic research.
I can very, very safely say that the part I enjoyed most was when it all started coming together, because when you do your dissertation, it can seem quite fragmented because you're sort of doing methods and then you're doing the actual research and then the writing up. But when it all started coming together, I just kind of sat there and was like, oh my goodness, this is my research. Like, I did this and the data is mine and it's important and I'm researching something that I actually really care about. So I really enjoyed feeling like I was actually doing something worthwhile with my work that could actually be used for something. So yeah, I definitely feel like I'm a good sociologist.